we are working on some wedding work today, and we are actually going to make, these are arrangements for an altar, and they're 3 separate pieces, and they're all artificial. So I thought we would do that with you guys. I have Owen with me and Victoria with me. They're going to read all of your comments. So y'all talk to me. Tell me how you're doing today. Tell me where you're from. We love to know that. And ask questions. If you have any questions about how we do things here at Flowers by the Bunch, we would love to answer any questions you might have. So I wanted to show you this stand. Several years back, we did a wedding, and we did it in fresh, and a little man made these stands for me to make this exact style arrangement on, and after the wedding, he just let me have them, and so it has been a wonderful thing to have these stands. They're just a piece of wood, a 2x4, attached to a base. The only thing is my base isn't real sturdy. I need to have a more sturdy base on the bottom. But what we do is we place a weight or a sandbag on the bottom. They're not going to go anywhere. They're just kind of rocky. So we place a sandbag on the bottom to hold them in place, and then we cover up the base with material or more flowers or what have you. So what I used on here, this is a pool noodle. We picked it up from the craft store. It's just a regular pool noodle. Just if you pick it up from Walmart, 98 cents. If you pick it up from the Dollar Tree, $1.25. I think from the Dollar General, it's like 99 cents. So they work really well for floral foam. And so that's what I have just taped it to my stand.
Everybody on TikTok, we've got 400 folks watching.
Wow! Hello, TikTok. Glad y'all are here. Hello. Okay, so I went ahead and got started with my first 2 because it just takes a little time to do all of the base work. I'm going to put this down so I'll quit playing with it. I am going to start out, so I started out with just some leather leaf foliage. I do have some pretty faux foliage ordered. It is not here, so we are going to tuck in some fresh eucalyptus. To me, the one thing that really helps make these look more fresh is to use fresh foliage. So I'll show you how that's going to look at the end. This is just a light green leather leaf fern. I actually got this from David Christopher's. If y'all have ever shopped with them, it's a wonderful company. Lots of pretty stuff. But this is just artificial leather leaf. And I am just going to take it.
Miss Verna followed us, and Miss Sylvia's wreaths followed us, and she says hello.
Hello. Thanks, guys. Thank you for the follow. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking this leather leaf and just sticking those stems right down in to that noodle. Now, I'm going to tell you that leather leaf does not look like it is fresh, pretty foliage, but it's a really good base foliage for what I'm doing here. So that's why I'm using the leather leaf foliage. I like the light green. Honestly, I have never ordered the light green before. I always order the dark green for cemetery type work, but they were out. So I did order the light green, and I am so pleased that I did because it works out great for this project.
Miss Michelle says she's new here and she wants to know if you rent these out.
I do, Michelle. Yes, I am renting these out for wedding work. So for this little wedding, it's a very small wedding, and we will do all of their flowers to wear and to carry in fresh flowers. And then their arrangements, these are going to be for the church. They will be in all silk flowers. And then we have a couple of other little arrangements that are in artificial.
You have lots of hellos on Facebook.
Hello guys. So glad you're here with me.
Cam says, I love those wooden pieces. Definitely need to make me some.
They're wonderful, Cam. Wonderful. And they really do make a pretty arrangement, I think. But now you can absolutely make fresh arrangements on these or the artificial. They can work for both.
Miss Shelley on YouTube says, hi ladies, good afternoon. Love your wedding floral arrangements.
Thank you, Shelley.
Miss Linda also says good afternoon, and Miss Starr says good afternoon from Maryland.
Hello, everybody. So glad y'all are here.
And remember to like and share the live, everybody. It's an easy way to support. You've got a whole load of new followers on TikTok. Miss Kimmy followed us, Miss April followed us, and Sunshine also followed us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. So glad y'all are here with us.
Maria is watching while she gets her hair done today.
Hello, friend. Hello, hello. So what I did is that's 2 bundles of leather leaf. So leather leaf comes in 12 stems per bundle. And I just left the stems long. So they do come with pretty long stems. I just left the length on the stems. Now often, if you've seen me do cemetery style work, I always cut some of that stem off. I just left it long. All of these flowers will be repurposed and reused. So it works out wonderful that if I can leave the stems as long as possible, it works out great. So I didn't do a whole lot of cutting on those. Next, I am going to come in with some white hydrangeas. So these are very, very reasonable at David Christopher's. And so it's a 5-stem, 5 bush of white hydrangeas. And so I am going to use 3 bushes on this stand, and that's what I used on the others. The middle stand, I think I used 4 bushes on it.
A couple questions on TikTok. Miss Molina says, are all those flowers artificial?
Every flower on these stands are artificial.
And Nell says, hello, love your work.
Thank you,
Because
thank
of
you.
I now use silver dollar eucalyptus in most of my arrangements.
Don't you love silver dollar? I love any type of eucalyptus. It's my favorite.
Glenda Vickers asks, will you take pictures of them set up in the church so we can see them?
I sure will. Yes, ma'am.
And then Miss Kathy Simpson asks, do you ever pick the stems?
Do I ever pick the stems with like a pick machine? It just depends. Often with a pick machine, I don't. Now, if I were going to do these and wanted them to stay together completely, I would glue and all the things. Because these are rented and we will pull them apart when we're finished, I'll pull them apart and I will store them. So I don't do any of permanent trying to put them in. But I would probably, if I needed length, I would probably put wood picks on them. I very seldom, unless I'm using hard styrofoam, I very seldom use my my steel pick machine to pick them. So I'm just going to take these, I'm going to push that foliage up to the top near that bloom, fluff it out a little bit, and I'm just pushing it right down into that foam.
How many stems of hydrangeas are you using?
On the shorter ones, I used 15 stems.
Deanna wants to know how you made the stands.
The stands, I tell you, a gentleman made them for me. I'll take a picture. It's a 2x4 that's my height, that's the length. And then there are 2 2x4s to hold it down, and then there's just some plywood, a pretty thick plywood as the base. Now, I will say I need to replace the bases. And I need to have something heavy, but the only thing about having it too heavy is they're really easy to carry at this point, so sandbags work really good to give us some weight.
What is your recommendation as far as rental pricing?
Rental pricing, I want to say, didn't someone say, I'll have to look it up. Honestly, I am doing this one actually as more, I'm only charging them just a small amount for these, strictly because I've never done them in all faux. They're a friend. And so I've never done them in all faux before, and I really just wanted some really great pictures. And so I'm not charging full price for these. But I am working on that, figuring out how to charge correctly for rental prices.
Barbara asks if you can come back and leave the website for where you bought the artificial florals.
I sure will. It's called Shop David Christopher's is where these hydrangeas came from and where the foliage came from.
Miss Michelle says, how do you keep the stands clean in storage?
So I just have the stands here in the flower shop. And so a lot of times, like one of them had little nails on it. Like this one, we had nails on it so we could hang wreaths. So we have these just here in the flower shop. But now you can absolutely cut. It's just wood. You can just wipe them down real good. They're not like it's anything that would really get messed up.
Dawn Miller wants to know if this is a wedding for this week.
It is, Miss Dawn. It is a wedding for Saturday.
Cam says, Miss Monty, Victoria, and Callie, thank you guys for being such amazing friends. You guys rock.
We love you, friend, and we are praying for you, Cam.
Butterfly Kisses on YouTube is saying hello to you and Victoria.
Hello, friend. Glad you're here.
And thank you guys for all the likes on TikTok.
So I'm just pushing these stems right into that foam. It works just as if it was any type of styrofoam. And you could just push those right in and just push them deep. And you can reuse this foam. It works really well to be able to be reused. All right, so there's my hydrangeas. Next, we're going to come in with some roses. And so these are just a really pretty white rose. It's also a bush. It also came from David Christopher's. And so it actually only has 4 stems, but it has 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 3, 6, 9, 10 stems of roses. I mean, it's 10 heads.
If you guys are interested, I think we have artificial flowers on our Shopify.
We do have some, yes.
If you're interested in some of those, we have those, and then we're also doing a ribbon sale as well.
So I am going to take some of these roses and I am just cutting them apart. So I have several flowers all the way through.
Mildred Harrell asks if you'll add fresh greens for the wedding.
Yes, ma'am, I will. And I pulled the fresh greens out just so that I could show you what it'll look like. I will pull those out of these arrangements and tuck them back in water and put them back in the cooler. And then I will add them when I get there. So here are our pretty roses. I just cut them apart.
Janet Ezekiel asks, how is your mom doing today?
Mom is doing pretty good. When I talked to her this morning, now I haven't talked to her this afternoon, but when I talked to her this morning, she felt good. Thank you for always asking. Thank you, thank you. So this is a garland. I don't even know where it came from. I think we bought, I bought some from a friend who had a wedding. She was selling all of her silk garlands and this and that, and so I bought these garlands from her. So I've had them a really long time, but what I did was, you can't hardly see it, but I tucked that garland just kind of down through the flowers, and I'm just kind of wrapping it around that hydrangea, and I'm just kind of giving that eucalyptus, that arrangement, that eucalyptus kind of all the way through.
Does David Christopher sell to retail customers or to businesses?
They sell to retail customers and to businesses. I believe. I think that's right.
We have a few questions on Facebook.
So here's my roses. I'm going to stick those in. Yes, ma'am. I'm ready.
Miss Catherine, yes, this will be a rental. Let's see. Miss Linda wants to know what these are for, and Miss Donna wants to know where are they going.
They are going at the altar in the church. So it's a, it's the chapel at Mississippi State. Did we go dark already? I wonder if this camera's wearing out.
Well, it has been on.
Has it?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I dropped a rose. So these are going to go to the Chapel of Memories at Mississippi State, and they're going to be placed on the altar. And they'll be they'll probably be separated a little more than I have them here. But yeah, they will stand right up there, and the bride and groom will stand right in front of these arrangements. And they're all artificial flowers. Is that what, I don't know if somebody asked that.
Miss Tracy wants to know how long will the fresh greens last in there.
So they will last for the ceremony, and they may be pretty when I pick them back up. So the wedding is at 10 o'clock in the morning. And so it's not like they're going to be out in the heat or anything like that. So they will last a good while out of water. They are eucalyptus, so they'll dry out, but it won't be a big deal. If they are reusable, I'm going to bring them back to the shop and pull all the pretty fresh greens out. So there's our roses.
Britt and Mary share the live. Thank you.
Thank you for the share. Thank you so much.
You have a few people wanting to know what the price would be for a rental.
I'm having to work on that, so I will let y'all know, I promise. What I think they will be is $350 a stand, is what my mind makes me think, but I'm not positive for that.
Maria says, there we go. Mark has dyed my hair. Bye-bye blonde. Hello black.
Hello. We need to see your picture, girl.
Everyone's still praying for your mama.
Thank y'all so much for the prayers. Thank you. Okay, so there's our roses. So now all of them are roughly the same. This one looks a little more sparse than the others, but I think they have the same amount of flowers.
Dawn Miller says, I have a wooden coat tree I could use as a base and do this.
Yes, ma'am, you absolutely could. And instead of taping on that piece of wood, if you don't want to use that tape, you can absolutely use zip ties. Zip ties work beautifully too. Actually, I zip tied this one in place, and then that one I did this a couple weeks ago with one where I was practicing. So that one had been taped on. And then this one, so I just went ahead and taped this one also. Okay, next we are going to come in with some poppies. So we have these pretty stems that I used a couple weeks ago in one of these arrangements. So I thought we would tuck some of these in.
Wayne Barrymore says these would also be nice in a memorial service.
Absolutely. They could be used for anything. For anything. I don't think you could go wrong with using them for any type of occasion.
Mildred says, silks are wonderful. Seeing beautiful flowers wilt makes me sad. Renting is the way to go.
I agree. Now, I will never say not to use fresh flowers. I will never say not to use fresh flowers, but I think that this is really a nice alternative to be able to have really beautiful arrangements without such a price and without so much waste. But I will never say don't use fresh flowers. I think fresh flowers are amazing. So you will always see me use fresh flowers, but
ooh, I do want to say before I forget, Miss Cindy Ray, if you are watching the live on YouTube or if you will watch the replay, it was so nice getting to talk to you today, and so thank you for giving us a call and placing an order with us. It was a pleasure. She was very sweet.
so glad you called, Miss Cindy. Thank you. And we got Miss Sarah's ribbon packed up and sent out, didn't we, today?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And thank you for the seeds, Miss Sarah. I know we've told you that, but thank you.
Jeremiah and Dana say, I just love your channel. I recently started my own silk flower business, and I've learned so much from you. You guys are the greatest. Thank you.
Fantastic. I'm so excited for you. So anybody who does this for a living and they rent their silks, I want to ask you some questions. Tell me, I need some help with figuring out fair prices for rentals. That's been the hardest part.
Ladine, these are going at the altar, right?
Yes.
At the altar for a wedding this weekend.
I'm leaving the stems as long as I possibly can because I want to be able to, if I needed to make a large arrangement or a tall arrangement, I want to be able to, and this one's, I'm struggling getting it in. I want to be able to keep as much of the length as possible. And so what I'm trying to do, there it goes maybe, is feed that stem down into that noodle. I'm gonna have to cut it because it's just not gonna go. But if I leave as much length as possible, then I'm able to reuse it in a different type of arrangement. My nose is itching. Fit in pretty easy.
Miss Ann Boykin is watching from Nashville, North Carolina. She says she looks forward to seeing your posts as often as possible. And says be blessed.
Thank you so much, Miss Ann. So glad you're with us.
Miss Lemire followed us. Thank you.
Thanks for the follow. All right. I got the poppies in. Next, I've got some of these. They're kind of a garden rose. And I think that I ordered these on Fair. They're just pretty, kind of pretty garden looking roses. They also came in a bush. Okay. And so the reason I like to put them all together kind of at the same time is because then I don't really have to think so much about how many stems did I put in this one and then how many stems did I put in that one. If I do them all at the same time and I pull 5 stems, I can put 5 stems in each one. And they don't have to be perfect. I'm not really trying to make them exact. I'm just trying to get the same amount of flowers roughly in each one.
Miss Debbie says, love the whimsy with the poppies.
Thank you, thank you.
Yvonne Wesley asks, or says, my granddaughter is getting married and her color is pink. What others will go with that? And she has to make a centerpiece for it.
Oh gosh, all colors, honestly. I would kind of talk to her and see if she wants to stick kind of in the pink theme. You could do like pinks and greens, some pretty white tucked in. I don't think you can mess up. And even shades of pink is always fun.
Butterfly Kisses says, what I do, Mommy, is have all the florals that I buy for a particular piece and multiply by 3, providing I use all the materials.
Okay, but if you're renting, is that what you do also for rentals?
I think that's what she was saying.
That's for rentals? I bet that's what she meant, yeah. So.
Yeah, I think she does rentals, and I bet that's
everything
what she
it costs times 3.
Times 3. So, almost the same price as you would for fresh flowers, right? I do 3.5 markup for fresh.
for saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna learn it. AJC asks, are those real or fake flowers?
Artificial. All right, next, what are we putting in here? We have beautiful ranunculus. Do I want those? Spray roses, tulips. I don't know that we need a whole lot more in these arrangements. Do you?
Nope. They're pretty.
Oh, it's like, nope, I think we're done. I think that's plenty.
AJC says, did you ever do this with real? And if so, how would you keep them watered?
So absolutely, I have always done. I've always done fresh flowers. This is my first real go at artificial flowers for weddings. I've always done fresh. So you would use cages and pop cages, which are fresh floral cages. And why are you laughing?
Nothing. I was watching.
You would do fresh floral cages that had fresh floral foam and do this effect with fresh. These are spray roses.
Miss Margaret Lynch is on YouTube. Hello, Miss Margaret.
Hello, Miss Margaret. How are you? I don't have a whole lot of
Always
these.
a
I have
pleasure.
a few questions on Facebook.
Sounds great. I would love to answer.
Don Miller asks if they're one-sided.
They're one-sided, Miss Dawn. They are one-sided.
Melissa Flores says, Amani, how will those be positioned?
So they are going to stand on the altar pretty much like this. They're not going to be crooked, but they're going to stand on the altar pretty much like this. So our altar at this church is all brick, red brick. It's a pretty dark church. It's the Chapel of Memories at Mississippi State. And so they will stand side by side, the larger, taller one. And I am going to get on a ladder and work on the tip top of this piece. So you can see the wood up there, but I'll get on a ladder and I'll fix that later. They will stand side by side just like this. Now, I think I'm going to put material at the base to cover up those bases. I think I'm going to work on that. I had thought maybe flowers down there, but then I thought that's a lot. So I'm probably going to just do material at the base.
Good evening to you, Miss Margaret.
All right, I'm going to add some fresh eucalyptus, and this is a seeded eucalyptus. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the stem, and I am going to tuck it right into that foam. Now, it is not going to stay fresh for a long period of time. So what I will do, I just wanted y'all to see what it looked like with the eucalyptus in it. So what I am going to do is I am going to add the eucalyptus when I get it to the church.
Angie Ham says, hello, Monty, Victoria, Owen, and Callie, enjoying this video. These flower pieces will be stunning at the wedding. Enjoy the rest of the day and sending prayers to Monty's mama.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.
Miss Dawn asks that you take a picture of the base when you complete it.
Yes, ma'am, I sure will.
Carl Garrison says those are very pretty and doesn't look artificial. Should be a pretty wedding backdrop. He would use material puddled under.
That's what
the
I
base.
thought too. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking, Carl.
He also says thankful for less pain today.
Oh, I'm so glad. Bless your heart.
Ladine says I used some extra white tablecloth that she had
Fantastic.
for the base of the legs for her daughter's wedding in the spring.
I have gold, kind of a gold sheer, but I think a white tablecloth might be better. Their dresses are a sage green color. And so I agree. I think that white tablecloth would work. And I have several, so I could puddle them, kind of together. I think the eucalyptus is going to make them beautiful.
Rhonda Johnson says they look really real, very beautiful, and white satin would look pretty on the bottom.
It sure would, absolutely.
Linda Juster says you could put the long wreath material and wrap around the base if you wanted to. She said, just a thought.
Thank you, thank you.
Corrine says these are so pretty. Where do you get your flowers from?
So most of these flowers came from a company called David Christopher's. So the hydrangeas and the roses, the regular roses came from David Christopher's. And then for the poppies and the garden looking roses, I got those from a company called Hometown Floral, I believe.
I think the company's name is Fair, but it's under
Sweet Home Deco is where the other roses. It is on an app called Fair, but Sweet Home Deco is one of the businesses on that app.
Thank you, Star Nanny. Have a good day. They're leaving. Say goodbye.
See you later, friend.
The Lyrical Lily is here on TikTok.
Hello,
saying,
Emily.
She's assuming these are faux flowers. Yes, they are.
So anyway, I'm going to take my eucalyptus and I will go all the way through. And of course, I'm going to pull this eucalyptus out and put it back in the cooler, but I just kind of wanted you to see what it would look like with the fresh eucalyptus, which to me makes all the difference in the world with how fresh the arrangements look versus faux.
Yes, Miss Melissa, we are renting these out this weekend. Miss Marilyn, these are silk flowers, yes. Chris Butler says, oh wow, I can't believe I caught you live. I can't wait until you do tutorials.
Hello, Chris. Glad you're here.
She's using foam for the mechanics.
So the mechanics are, I'll show it to you really quickly. It is a noodle, a pool noodle. So I think it's 2 total that I used. I used one here. I just taped them to these stands. I'm going to pull this stand closer. You can kind of see it there. And what I will do, these are going to go up against the wall. Nobody is going to be behind them. They're going up against a wall. I will probably take some more leather leaf and cover just because I don't want, just in case, I don't want anybody to see the mechanics. But it is just a pool noodle and it has been taped to these wooden stands. There's kind of a close-up with the eucalyptus in it.
Eileen Ogden asks, will you lay them flat to transport in the van?
They will. They will go in the van. We've got a large 15-passenger white van that they will just lay down in that van. And they're very easy. I mean, I can carry it very easily. So they're all 3 pretty light. So they're very easy to carry and to set up.
Saskia Atkinson asks, what flower is the bride carrying?
The bride is carrying all white roses, and she's carrying fresh, all white roses. It may have a hydrangea in there, not positive, but it's a pretty simple bouquet. And then the bridesmaids will carry white roses with a little bit of eucalyptus also.
Melissa Flores was wanting to know how much you charge. You said $3.50.
I think $3.50 a piece, $3.50 a stand.
Janet Ezekiel says, David Christopher has a beautiful shop. Have you ever been in their shop?
It has been a really long time since I've been in their shop. But I have been in their shop here in over in Alabama. But it's been a long time. I usually just order online. But yeah, they do have pretty stuff. Pretty stuff. I'm excited. Any more questions, guys?
I think we're ready to go.
All right. So what we will do is we will add, I don't know why I keep holding the noodle. Put it down. We will take and add fresh greenery to all of these stands. I will puddle material underneath, but I will take a picture and post it so that you can see what the final product looks like. Again, I am going to fix, you can see the wood up there at the top. I am going to add some more flowers up there at the top. But I think it's going to look really pretty. I am so excited. But if you have a floral business and you rent silk florals, please reach out to me. I would love to talk to you about how to do this. This is just kind of a new venture for us. We do still do, of course, all fresh flowers. We love fresh flowers, but we are not opposed to pretty faux flowers, and we would love to start being able to rent those. So reach out. I'd love to talk to you. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. If you have any questions about how we do things here at Flowers by the Bunch, we are so happy to answer. Y'all just let us know. You can message us or email us or all the things. Over on TikTok, check us out on all the other platforms. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up or a heart. That just helps people see us. Do me a favor, sprinkle this video, and we